Good evening and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here. It is the Geelong Region Soccer Show and it is an absolute pleasure to be with you here tonight. And joining us as he does every week, my name, by the way, is Tonchi Prusak and my co-host, Steve Curtin. Good evening, Steve. How are you tonight?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Tonchi. Sun's been shining again in Geelong today on a public holiday, and looking forward to bringing a big Anzac Day episode of the Geelong Region Football Show to everyone tuning in tonight. And it's been a very big weekend of football. There's the graphic there. A very big weekend of football because the local leagues have returned as well, as we've got all of our state and NPL action up and running as well. There's that much football in Geelong. It's the most popular and most participated in sport, and that's why it's good to be here talking about it with you. How are you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Yep, Anzac Day today. We commemorate all of those fallen servicemen and women over the years, and I guess in these times of global uncertainty and conflict, there always is something going on around the world. It's a good day to sort of stop and remember some of the sacrifices that those people made. And in a day and age when so many things are taken for granted, it's good to listen to the stories of our forefathers, so lest we forget. It's a big show, as you mentioned, mate. Moving along, it's going to be huge, actually. We'll be having lots to talk about tonight. A big shout out right from the outset to our major episode sponsor, Mist Heating and Cooling. They have indeed nominated North Geelong Warriors as the club in focus for tonight's segment. So without further ado, Steve, do introduce all of our guests tonight, and it is a jam-packed gallery of greats from Elco Park.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So we're going to, once we've got through the news desk there, we've got our first guest coming on at 8:20 is men's senior player and leading goal scorer Caleb MIKULIC, the club's recent signing from the Melbourne Knights, who's setting NPL2 on fire at the moment. Followed after that, we've got Ando and AHMAD, the couple of boys doing some great job with the women's side there in the State League, Women's State League 1. So,
which kicked off yesterday.
Yeah, looking forward to catching up on progress because they've had to wait a long time. They've played a bit of Nike FC Cup football, but they've had to wait a long time for the league fixtures to kick off. So, all the girls and the boys coaching, they're very excited about that. And we'll be speaking to them at 8:35. And then coming up a little bit later at 8:50, it is Tony GRGUREVIC, who is North Geelong's head of under-12s and under-13 pathway program. So looking forward to speaking to Tony. It's been a long time, old friend of ours, and very much looking forward to having a chat with him.
Don't go away, folks. We're going to have a commercial break very shortly. When we return, it's the time for the news desk. We've got lots to get through. Mist Air Conditioning and Mechanical Services is one of Geelong's premier domestic air conditioning companies. The company is a venture by the directors of a major commercial mechanical services company which has over 45 years combined experience in the air conditioning sector all over Australia. Our service and vast industry connections will ensure that Mist AC will not only be competitive in price, it will also get you, the client, ongoing service needs for your home or office. With the 7-year guarantee on all our workmanship, you can rest assured you will never be left out in the cold. Whether you are renovating or building your new family home, Mist can provide all types of ducted, split or reverse cycle air conditioning for your environment. We offer a total solution suitable to your family's needs. To find out more, visit our website at www.misthc.com.au or email us at info@misthc.com.au or call us now on 5278 6478.
All right. Well, it must be time for the news desk, I think, Tonchi, after that theme plays. So it is Monday, the 25th of April, 2022, Anzac Day, as we mentioned earlier. And let's get into some of the news from the weekend, which is headlined by, wow, a string of results because there's so many games going on. And look, let's just kick off things with the results from NPL2 on the weekend. On Saturday afternoon. We'll get that up on the screen there. So North Geelong, another good win for them, for the Warriors, getting over the line there. 2-0 against Manningham United Blues. Goals for Caleb MIKULIC and Yuji Kin, getting them over the line. So definitely a good result there at home, Tonchi, for them. And they're just going along pretty nicely. And they've got another fixture coming up against local rival. They're going to travel up to Werribee and play Werribee City this Saturday at 3 p.m. That should be a beauty and worth getting along to if you can, I'd say.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll be talking to Caleb MIKULIC in about 10 minutes' time or thereabouts, and we'll be getting the rundown from that game that was played on the weekend. There were 2 other games played on Saturday, and we've also got a series of games being played tonight. And I think, Steve, you may even have some progress scores from one of the games played tonight. But what were some of the other scores of the other games played in NPL2 Victoria on Saturday?
Okay, I'd skipped on to NPL3 already to try and keep the speed round going.
Sorry.
Well, the other big result, I guess, Moreland City 3-2 over Goulburn Valley Suns was a good result for Moreland City because they're at the pointy end of the table. A few other results haven't filtered in. Brenton Ray's got a score for us there. Northcote City 1, Lang Warren 1. So spoils shared there on the Anzac Day game that took place today.
Bulleen Lions taking on Brunswick City. Kick-off in about 7 minutes' time. And then Kingston City taking on Moreland Zebras. That game's at 8:30 p.m. tonight down at the Grange. So the interesting thing about that Moreland City game, it was headed for, at halftime, the result was 2-0 for Goulburn Valley Suns. Can you believe it? And within 45 minutes, Moreland City then just underwent a major transformation. I don't know what their coach said to them at halftime, but it worked because they ended up winning 3-2. So from basically at halftime losing to the bottom side to ending up in top spot, all in the case of, a matter of 45 minutes. It's absolutely nuts. Look, I was at that game and I actually spoke to the referee. And he was saying that there's games in NPL2, Steve. He goes, sometimes, you're refereeing a game that is at such a high level, and then the following week in the same division, you're refereeing a game that could probably pass for a State 5 or State 4 standard game. There's just such a lot of inconsistency happening at the moment. But, quite an incredible, I guess, outcome there. But we'll be talking a lot about NPL
definitely
2 later on. Let's move to NPL 3.
Yeah, NPL 3. So Geelong travelled to Parade College on Saturday. They went down 5-2 against the youthful Melbourne City NPL squad there. And there was a couple of goals. Anthony Trajkowski getting on the score sheet and also an own goal. So unfortunately going down by 3 goals there, Geelong. So they'll have their chance to try and turn things around when they play at home this weekend. They're playing at 6 p.m. at Stead Park against Box Hill United. So a really big match for Geelong coming up there. They need to need to get a win. And against Box Hill United, they're sitting in seventh place. At home, Geelong might be able to get over the line.
Yeah, isn't it one of, what do they call them? Those 3-pointers, don't they? They're basically, you have to now win this game. A 6-pointer, sorry.
6-pointer, yeah.
If Box Hill wins this game, they skip away to like 5 points clear of Geelong. If Geelong can win this game against Box Hill United, they will overtake Box Hill United. So a crucial game. I know it's still early days, but look, when you look at it, Geelong are just 2 points away from the dreaded relegation zone. And it must be said, Springvale White Eagles, they've recorded a win and a draw in their last 2 games, including a draw, I think it was, against the leaders at the time, Preston Lions. So very important game. Very, very, it's crucial.
Yeah, I think against Victory, I think they got the draw.
Was it Victory as well? Yeah, yep. Yeah. There you go. State 1. Big news happening out of State 1. Hey.
Yeah, State 1. Big news for Croydon. They went down 5-0, but they have appointed a new manager. So Christian Bright has parted ways with the senior coaching role there. And the new signing that comes in is Bobby Stoichevsky, who steps in, experienced manager there. So quick with the replacement at Hume Reserve. So they'll be looking to turn things around because they're on a bit of a run of outs. After starting the season pretty well with a couple of impressive draws on the road, they've slumped to a couple of difficult results. That latest one, as we said, 5-0 against Banyule City, but they've got a really big one this weekend because, it's the big doubleheader, and they're going to be opening the new facilities at Hume Reserve. Long time waiting for this moment, so they'll need to be, out to impress this weekend. But they've got a tough opponent because they're playing league leaders Caroline Springs George Cross. That's at 5:30 this Saturday at Hume Reserve, so definitely get along to that. And as you see there, double header as well, the Galaxy, who now call Hume Reserve their home pitch as well. They're going to be playing Melbourne University at 7:45 after, so a big double header to get along to and check that out, because Hume Reserve, it's well placed within the sort of northern suburbs, almost inner northern suburbs of Geelong. So get along there and check out the new facility. I've heard it's fantastic, and I can't wait to get along and see it in person, Tonchi.
Absolutely. Look, I haven't had a chance to get a guided tour from Corio Soccer Club President Mario Gregorio.
Sure, Mario will volunteer to do that anytime.
He's been promising that, so I look forward to that. But I have driven past there on numerous occasions over the last few weeks, and it is an absolute. Well, it looks fantastic. It really does look fantastic. Obviously, when you haven't ventured inside, it's hard to see. But compared to what they did have in the past, it's going to be quite remarkable. So really looking forward to that. Moving along to State League 2, and another Geelong side there, also not doing too well, in 11th position, Geelong Rangers.
Yeah, they're only on just the 1 point there, Geelong Rangers, and they didn't get any points on the weekend when they slumped to a 1-0 loss to Epping City. Epping City sitting mid-table there, so maybe they were hoping to pick up at least a point there at home, Geelong Rangers, I'd imagine, and not able to do so. Next week they play the big derby at the Grange Reserve, the Scottish or British derby, if you like, Hoppers Crossing versus Geelong Rangers. That is always a big fixture, and it is a derby match, that one. That's 3:00 next Saturday up at Hoppers, so there'll be a good crowd there at that game, I fancy, and should be a good chance. And in that sort of derby atmosphere, you never know, Rangers might be able to pull something out of the hat there and get a result maybe.
You know what they always say about derby games, Steve, the form book goes out the window. Right. So certainly for all the local fans, and indeed Rangers fans, will be certainly hoping, and when I say Rangers fans, Geelong Rangers, because Hoppers Crossing originally were called Mossfield Rangers. So there's a little bit of trivia there. Battle of the Rangers, I suppose, if you like.
Good.
But Stephen Tillinger, the Rangers coach, he's got a very, very young side there up at Myers Reserve. And look, with one draw from 6 matches, yet to capture the 3 points, they'll be very, very eager to do so this time around. And hopefully they can manage to pull off the first win of the season. But moving along, we're now into State League 4. 3 Geelong clubs here, all having varied results over the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Well, look, we'll go with the big winners, Surf Coast. They got the big win against Melbourne City. That's Melbourne City from Spotswood, not the A-League / MPL2 squad. 5-0, 4 goals for Jasko Ivanovic. So he's certainly having no trouble finding the back of the net. Another player who's been scoring a lot of goals recently as well, Brod. Von Brandstein scored a single as well. He scored he scored about 4, I think, in the previous game against Keilor Wolves himself, or a hat-trick, I think it was, a hat-trick against Keilor Wolves. So both of those boys are finding the back of the net. So, good result for Surf Coast there. They're going along pretty nicely, and we'll talk about some of these other results that weren't so good, I suppose. Gisborne 2, Golden Plains 0. So Golden Plains unable to get some points on the road there at Dixon Field, and Bell Park was also on the road to the Barrymore Road Recreation Reserve to play Greenvale United, who's not a side I've seen in the Western Division a great deal, and Greenvale got a 2-1 win there against our boys from Geelong Bell Park. But Anthony Peretina got on the score sheet there. So well done to Anthony for finding the back of the net.
He's back. He's back at Bell Park after a stint of a couple of years, 3 years at Geelong in the NPL, and immediately young Anthony has scored for his junior club. So that's if anything, that's a positive sign. By the way, that ladder there is taken from the Football Victoria site, and it doesn't take into account the Golden Plains Gisborne result. So in actual fact, Gisborne are they move into fourth spot and dislodging Surf Coast from the top 4. So Surf Coast are in fifth position. But yeah, look, that provides the All Whites a little bit of hope, I suppose, having someone like Anthony Peretina there, and they have had problems scoring goals. So he has been signed, and hopefully he can get amongst the goals in weeks leading up, or the next few weeks. Bell Park, I think, are away to Laverton.
Correct.
And Laverton are always a tough side, especially at their home ground, Laverton Park Reserve. It's almost like a
difficult place to go. It's like an away leg in Montevideo or Santiago in Chile over there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they are a Chilean community-backed club, so it is always a difficult venue to go. But Laverton, look, they've won 5, lost 1, and they're always hovering up near the top. But Keilor Wolves, they are a surprise packet. They swept everything before them. Was it last year? I think.
Yeah, last year in the State League 5
and League 5, and then they stepped up to fill the gap.
I'm not surprised that they're doing so well, because they were so strong in that competition. They just carried it over, and they're clearly a dominant team in the State 4 level as well, and favourites to get out of the league for sure.
Now the big shock, I think it's the shock of the season, happened in State League 5, mate. What happened to Barwon? What the hell happened to Barwon?
Yeah, a bit of a surprise, but I suppose the scoreline is the surprise. Like, I thought that Bendigo City might be a good chance to knock off Barwon up there at the Epsom Huntley Recreation Reserve, but it was the volume of the defeat, 7-0. And I know that Barwon had a couple of boys sent off last week, so they were without one of their stars, Milton Bailey, and I think at least one other player as well. So that might have cost them a little bit as well, and maybe they got a bit of not jet lag, but maybe can you have like car or bus lag from traveling that far? It's a long way from Grovedale to Epsom. It's about probably on Saturday traffic. It's probably the best part of 3 hours, really. So it's not the result that they wanted at all, and I'm sure Dale Harris will have the boys working hard this week to try and make amends there. But yeah, big surprise. And there was also another surprise in State 5, wasn't there, Tonchi, down at Shell Road Reserve, and a pleasant surprise too.
We'll have a look at the bottom of the ladder, or near the bottom of the ladder. No longer are the Surfside Waves on the bottom. They recorded their first win of the season. Very hard to get any information. We approached Surfside Waves to get some information from this game, but they did defeat Maribyrnong Greens 2-1 last week. So if anyone's in the chat listening to us, watching us at the moment, and were at the game, in the chat, just put a couple of comments. Goal scorers were Tyler Ditloff and Alexander Ketchen. Now, Alexander often gets amongst the goals, but it does say on the Football Victoria team sheet that Tyler Ditloff is the goalkeeper there, but it doesn't say anything about a penalty. So I'm just thinking, did he score in outfield play? If he did, that is
was it one of those clearances that bounces over the keeper at the other end?
Possibly. Yeah. We want to know.
If anyone's got footage of the goal by Ditlov, that's I'd love to see it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Deakin Ducks, they lost to Balmoral 0-3 at home. And Lara United, they could only draw 0-0 with lowly Ballarat. So that was probably a good opportunity for Lara to gain a few points and move up into the upper echelon, if you like, of State League 5. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do so. And Deakin really have had a bit of a topsy-turvy season, to sort of 3 wins and 3 losses. They seem to record a win one week, and then the following week they followed up with a loss. But it is, I suppose, what it is. But, mate, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, we're going to look at the women's scene, the female scene, and we're also going to look at, I suppose we're also going to take a look at the local league, because the Geelong Region competition also kicked off this weekend. So, folks, don't go away. You're tuning in to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's episode 79, and mate, we've got so much to get through. Let's go straight with the women and VPLW.
Yeah, let's move into that one.
Have a look at that.
Another good weekend for the Geelong Galaxy girls, and this ladder makes good reading, doesn't it? They're 3 games, 3 wins, 9 goals against, 14 goals for, plus 5 goal difference, and maximum points there. So that's that's very pleasant reading, you have to say. And goals there: Emily Sutcliffe, Meg Lemon, Eri Yamashita, Chaziel Day, and an own goal there. So, and they're scoring, what is that? So 14 goals in 3 games. So they're averaging over 4 goals a game. It's crazy stuff. So great work there by all involved at Galaxy, and keep it going, I say, as they look forward to their big game this weekend, as we mentioned, in that double header, playing after Corayo's opening of the Hume Reserve Pavilion when they play Melbourne University at 7:45 under lights there. Hume Reserve.
Yeah, reserves will kick off at 4:45, so the reserves will be kicking off. I dare say they'll probably kick off on the other pitch. There are 2 pitches there.
You watch 2 games at once, stand in the middle, watch 2 games at once. How good's that? And there's going to be goal. We guarantee goals in Galaxy's playing.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot. I dare say there'll be a big crowd, lots of football action, both men and women on Saturday there at Hume Reserve. Hopefully the weather's going to be kind to us and kind to everyone. And at the end of the day, Melbourne University, they've won 1 game, lost 1. We don't know the score of that particular game that they played. We have got a score that's come through. So they played Casey Comets yesterday. We don't know the score of that. We do know the score of the Preston Lions Melbourne Knights game. And good news for Geelong Galaxy, the game was a 2-2 draw, meaning that Preston Lions join South Yarra on 7 points. And that means Geelong Galaxy, the girls from Geelong Galaxy, are outright leaders after 3 rounds. That is absolutely awesome. And hopefully they can be supported by a big crowd on Saturday evening. By that stage, all of the men's games and other women's games in Geelong will be over, and that will be the perfect opportunity to get down to Hume Reserve. Check out the new club rooms, the new Corail Soccer Club club rooms, but also watch the new look Geelong Galaxy in action. As we said, they'll be coming up against Melbourne University. Now, we had a lot of local games as well played over the weekend, mate.
Yeah, shall we cover the state women's first?
Oh, yes, let's do that. Yes, let's do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll go to State League 1 women's in the Northwest Division, where North Geelong played their first match at that level after moving up from State 3 last season. They were defeated, though, at home 3-2 by Latrobe University, beaten. But certainly a close one there. Conceding an 81st minute winner to Latrobe University. Goals for North Geelong by Fierro and Popperwell. getting them up and running for the season. So I'm sure they'll be looking to improve from that result next week when they go and play Craigieburn City away next Sunday at 3 p.m.
Yeah, we'll find out all the lowdown from the North Geelong women's team, who have gone up 2 divisions over the course of the summer off season. They were promoted to fill a gap in State 2, and then there was an outstanding gap in State 1. And Football Victoria asked several clubs from State 2, and they all politely declined. And in fact, what happened was a couple of clubs, in fact, I know St Albans Saints, they were in State 1. They were relegated, if you like, because they were unable to field a reserves team, and that was the key issue there, fielding a reserves team. Yep. So what happened then is that North Geelong was able to effectively promote their under-18 women's or under-18 girls team as their reserves team, and hence they are in State 1 this year. I was out there for about half an hour, and honestly, they did not look out of their depth, and there's been some big results in State 1. I think so. So there's a massive one, or something like a 15-1 in one of the games. I can't remember.
Hopefully some closer games to come throughout the season.
Yeah, Moreland Zebras, Steve, smashed Keilor Park 15-0, and then Essendon Royals defeated Elwood 9-0. So, as you mentioned. So that's a huge result.
Yeah. State League 2 women's as well. Yesterday there was another big, I guess, one-sided result, and it was good news for Lara United because they got over Maribyrnong Swiss 7-0 in the Women's State League 2 Northwest. So a hat-trick for Izzy Wilkinson, a hat-trick for Jess Kenyon, and Taylor Eastway with a goal as well. So well done to everyone at Lara United Women's, because they've had a great start to the season. And I guess we'll just have a quick look at the Women's State League 3 as well before we move on to the local league.
Just the thing about Lara United, they've also got, for the first time in a long time, they've got also the they've got a team in the local community competition as well in Division 2 of the Women's League. And so that augurs well that next year they would be able to have that capacity of having 2 teams, and then they'll be able to get promoted. Next week, they're also at home to Hoppers Crossing, Brenton Ray's club. So Brenton Ray's club will be playing against the 2 of the Geelong teams. The men will be playing the Geelong Rangers. The women will be playing Lara United. So we'll be seeing a lot of Hoppers Crossing this coming weekend. Yeah, and State 3, speaking of Geelong Rangers.
Yeah, so Geelong Rangers, they played at home in their first foray into the state leagues for the women's, and they had a 2-2 draw with Avondale. Goals for Danny Mandich and Emma Bilic, getting them off and running for the season there. So, good result. Avondale's had the women's program going for a while at the state league level, so I think that's not a bad result. And then next week, Geelong Rangers will go ahead and play Point Cook at Saltwater Reserve in a Friday night fixture. So not much rest there in between games. They'll play at 7:30 on Friday night.
And Point Cook lost to Melbourne University Soccer Club 1-0, just gone by now. So, it should be a very even competition, should be a very even contest. Let's move our attention now to the local league, mate. Lots happening in the local league. Now, the women kicked off proceedings with the Friday night games, speaking of Friday night games, and Geelong Rangers local team in the Division 1 women's, they were involved in that against Barwon.
Yeah, but they went down, though, 2-0 at Grovedale Reserve, so a perfect start for Barwon in the local league women's. And the action continued on Saturday afternoon with a high scorer, Surf Coast 4, Drysdale 2. Goals, a hat-trick for Maddie Lambert for Surf Coast and a single goal for Jade Feeks, and for Drysdale, Dakota Pearson and Grace Hudson finding the back of the net. The other match taking place in the Women's Div 1, Geelong and Deakin Ducks Gold. I think we found a score from that one.
It was 1-0 to Geelong.
1-0 to Geelong.
It hasn't been submitted who the scorer was. So we urge all the clubs, particularly come Monday morning or at the absolute latest Monday noonish, if they could please upload the results so that we do know, so we can actually give you all the latest scores as well.
If you upload it, we'll read it out.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a scorer, E. Sarcevic. Is that Liz Sarcevic possibly? Yeah, Elizabeth. Yeah, she would have scored the only goal for Geelong Soccer Club. Now we move along to the men's competition, and that was played. Basically, all the games were played on Sunday.
Yeah, so the first one was Breakwater Eagles and FC Leopold, which is another one that doesn't have the score in the sports TG. Have we got that one?
Yeah, that was a 2-2 draw. We don't know who the scorers were, though, unfortunately.
We don't. And another match taking place, Armstrong United 0, Alco Park Cardinals 2, and there was 2 goals credited to Daniel Grozdanovsky, so getting the double there for Daniel. Also, Surf Coast 2, Bell Park 2. That was a big match. I think both of those sides have got fairly strong local league sides, particularly Bell Park. From what I'm hearing, a lot of their state league players have dropped down to that team. Jay Christou with 2 goals for Surf Coast. I don't think I have the scores for Bell Park, but 2 goals for Jay Christou for Surf Coast.
Yeah, there you go. So
Bowen had a bye.
And Bowen had the bye. Heaps of football action happening all around the region. And we're going to take a break. When we return, it's going to be our first guest for the evening. And we're hoping to speak to North Geelong Warrior sharpshooter who's scored 9 goals from 6 games. And he's setting NPL2 Victoria alight, Caleb MIKULIC. He'll be joining us very, very shortly, folks. Don't go away. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. He was in the green room about 2 seconds ago, and we've just lost him. Hopefully he's back. He's going to be joining us very, very shortly, and it's our first guest for the evening, and he joins us. There we go. A little bit of a shaky camera there, but nonetheless, it's good to have Caleb MIKULIC on the show. Caleb MIKULIC, the star sharpshooter at the North Geelong Warriors. Caleb, thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
Mate, 9 goals in 6 games. You scored a goal, but the goal that you scored on Saturday against Manningham United Blues, that must have been the easiest goal of the season so far. It was a bit of a defensive blunder. And take us through that, because it sort of seemed to have bounced over the keeper. He came out of his penalty box, and what happened next?
Yeah, so it was sort of it was a tough game at the start, so we knew what was coming, and the ball just went over the top. I can't remember who passed the ball, but I seen the keeper bolting towards the ball, and I sort of had this feeling he was going to miss it, because I don't know, and I just gambled on it, and next thing you know, I just tapped it in, so I got pretty lucky.
Well, it sounds like it was a good finish, Caleb. Let's talk a bit about your move from the Melbourne Knights to our local NPL2 side, the North Geelong Warriors. Was it something that when you thought about coming down to Alco Park, that you just thought it was a great opportunity, and you've got a friendship with some of the players there already, and that was what got you over the line to come and join at North Geelong Warriors?
Yeah, definitely. Well, whilst I was at Knights, I was wanting to leave, and I spoke to a couple of boys at North Geelong, the likes of Banner and Luka Jurkovic. I spoke to them too, and they sort of gave me a spiel about what the club is focused on and what they want to achieve for the year. And I was pretty much sold from the get-go once I spoke to them too. And then, within a week or two, I was signed for North Geelong, so it happened pretty quick.
And your first impressions of the club and Stuart Begg. Speaking of Stuart Begg, we actually had him on last night on the Football Out West show. Look, he actually had a few things to say about you. Let's have a listen to actually what Stuart actually had to say about you. This was on last night's Football Out West.
Yeah, it was very happy to have him on board this year. It was obviously a position that we were wanting to recruit, and getting him was very good. And when he's come on board, he's actually taken he's come into the environment quite well. So he's adapted himself very well, and we've adapted to him very well. And at the end of the day, if you get someone like him serviced, then he's going to score goals, and he finds himself in the right position. So yeah, he's going quite well. So it's good to have him.
Well, there you go. That's what Stuart Begg, the North Geelong.
Yeah, it was very happy to have him on board this year.
Oops. The Gremlins are playing at it again.
Keep talking there.
We don't want to hear him twice. No, that's for sure. Look, but he mentioned that you've really blended in well with the on the field. You're certainly doing very well. What about like the pace of NPL2 coming from NPL1, where you used to sort of almost? Well, it's a very fast, very intense pace. And I know, Steve, you and I, we both commentate NPL2 games and NPL games as well, and we can sort of see the difference in standard. But as a player, do you notice a difference in intensity, the tempo of the game, etc.? And how have you found adapting to that?
It definitely changes, but in saying that, there are still a lot of quality teams throughout NPL2. I think that every team's sort of fairly even in our league this year, so you can't go into every game sort of expecting to win because it's going to be tough. But in regards to the football, NPL is much quicker, much faster. But I've sort of just come in and just trying to help the club achieve what they want to achieve, and everyone stepped up to the plate, which is good.
Now, Caleb, let's talk about you debuting at North Geelong Warriors in the pre-season and the Geelong Community Cup and that big tournament that took place out at Myers Reserve when it was about 35 degrees, nice and toasty. How did you enjoy playing in the Geelong Community Cup, and what did you think of that as a concept and a tournament that you scored a decisive goal in the final as well?
Yeah, I didn't actually expect it to be that big and that and how much people buy into that actual tournament, because I didn't know much about it, to be honest with you. And yeah, it was 35 degrees and I couldn't really breathe. So was happy to win the cup, to win the trophy, and it set us on our way for the season as well.
Now, mate, you've before you actually returned to the Melbourne Knights, you had a bit of a stint in Europe. So you've actually had a little bit of a taste of what professional football like is in Europe. Tell us a bit about your experiences. And with some of the younger guys down at North Geelong in particular, we've got 16-year-old Noah Skorkor, whose brother Luca has gone over to Europe in the off-season, and George Ellis, and there was a young fella that made his debut, or not made his debut, but came on late in the game, Daniel Serra. Do these younger guys look up to you and often ask you about your experiences abroad and what it takes to be able to make it at that level?
Of course I do. Like, especially the younger boys, they're always willing to talk to the older players in regards to help their like in regards to football and whatnot. And I was there for 2 years, and I realized how much of a step it actually is to go there, because I can't sort of explain to you what type of step it actually is. It's a whole different ball game once you go over there and you experience it.
What was the team you were playing at, and where?
Austria, Vienna.
Austria, Vienna.
Yeah, Vienna. It's Austria, Vienna.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was there for 2 years, and then came back to Melbourne, and then I was at the Knights, and then now made my way to North Geelong.
Steve?
Caleb, before going over to Austria, you're at Melbourne Knights and St Albans as well. What was your junior career like, and your representative football opportunities growing up and coming through the ranks?
Well, I was always been a Melbourne Croatia boy, and I still am at heart. That's just the way it's going to be. I've been there since I was 5 years old and then I got into the first team when I was about 17, 18, not 100% sure, and then I've stayed there my whole time. And all my childhood memories of football as I've always been at North Geelong, at Melbourne Knights. Sorry,
Melbourne Knights.
So,
we'd love to have you at North Geelong for a little bit longer. That's for sure. If you're kicking 9 goals in the first 6, but mate, you're still only 24. So as far as your own career, you've obviously got ambitions, no doubt, of going further. If the Melbourne Knights end up in the National Second Division like it's been proposed next year, could a move back to the Knights be on the agenda soon?
Look, for now, I'm just sort of focusing on North Geelong here. I've got a job to do in North Geelong, so hopefully we do get promoted, and then in regards to next year, that's next year. A lot of things can change, but right now I'm just sort of focused on North Geelong and doing my job for the team and the club and everyone involved. So.
And speaking of that role, compared to what you were doing at the Melbourne Knights last year, do you find that you've got yourself a more free role, that there's maybe less pressure or shackles, you can go out there and just play your natural game? Is it any different in the way that you're sent out there by Stewie each week?
Not really, because I know what he expects from me. I know he expects me to give him all 110% and to help the boys win. But it's not just myself. There's a lot of leaders, a lot of good players in the team, and we're just gelling really well at the moment, and hopefully we can go all the way. So,
Tonchi.
Yeah, big game coming up today. It's the Princess Highway Derby, as we call it. North Geelong take on Werribee City at Werribee City. Werribee City, they're a funny team. They started off the year with, I think it was 3 wins from three games, and they've sort of stumbled in the last few and lost their last 3 games. So they're just behind you guys. Do you know much about Werribee City? Have they had much of a personnel change since last year? And the other thing is, why is it so inconsistent in NPL2? Steve and I mentioned earlier, I'd spoken to a referee on the weekend, and he just said 1 week you're officiating at this really high-level game, the next week it's, almost like State 4. Why the inconsistency this year?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest. In regards to the first question, about Werribee, I wouldn't have a clue. I know Begsy and Adrian, they study every team in the league, so they would have a better idea. But in regards to the league, as I said before, it's all sort of very even, and there's no sort of standout team right now as it stands. So everyone's just got to take, especially us, we're just going to take it game by game, and hopefully we're the benchmark for the league.
Awesome.
Definitely. Look, one important question that I have to ask Caleb is that which venue does the best Chavafi rolls? Is it Melbourne Knights or is it Elko Park?
I think Melbourne Knights still claim that number 1 for sure.
Oh gosh,
there you go. Resounding choice there.
Meats is legendary down here, mate. All the very, very best. Thank you for joining us. Really do appreciate it. And you've very quickly become a crowd favourite there at Elko Park. And everyone expects every time Caleb MIKULIC gets the ball, he's going to do something magic and score a goal. So we certainly look forward to seeing a lot more goals being scored as well. So but 9 goals from 6 games is not a bad start, and wish you all the best for Saturday's big game against Werribee City down at Werribee.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks. Have a great game.
Cheers.
Awesome. That was Caleb MIKULIC from the North Geelong Warriors, a charming young lad. Only 24.
Yeah, 24. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Seems like he's been around longer than that.
Yeah. So, it's great to see. And it's funny, down at North Geelong, they've got a lot of players that are veterans, but they're still very, very much young.
Young veterans. That's what happens when you get minutes into young players.
Yeah,
they're 24, 25, 26, and they have the experience of a 30 or 31-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one player who was there for 11 seasons, majority of those as the captain of the senior men's team, has now hung up his boots, but he's still involved at North Geelong Warriors. That's Michael Anderson we talk about, and he's now one of the assistant coaches with the women's team, along with another member of the senior men's assistant coaching panel from last year, AHMAD SULEIMI. Both of those guys will be joining us shortly after the break, because they are now the assistant coaches with the senior women's team. Exciting times happening with the women's side of things at Elko Park. Folks, don't go away. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show you're tuning into. Mist Air Conditioning and Mechanical Services is one of Geelong's premier domestic air conditioning companies. The company is a venture by the directors of a major commercial mechanical services company which has over 45 years combined experience in the air conditioning sector all over Australia. Our service and vast industry connections will ensure that Mist AC will not only be competitive in price, it will also get you, the client, ongoing service needs for your home or office. With a 7-year guarantee on all our workmanship, you can rest assured you will never be left out in the cold. Whether you are renovating or building your new family home, Mist can provide all types of ducted, split or reverse cycle air conditioning for your environment. We offer a total solution suitable to your family's needs. To find out more, visit our website at www.misthc.com.au or email us at info@misthc.com.au or call us now on 5278 6478. Well, welcome back now to the. It's a case of AA, and we're not talking about Alcoholics Anonymous. We're talking about Ando and AHMAD. It's the Ando and AHMAD show. Our guests for tonight.
I was going to go and get a beer, Tonchi, actually.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure having these two gentlemen, fine young gentlemen as well, from the North Geelong senior women's team, the two assistant coaches. First of all, Michael Anderson. Ando, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Happy to be here and spruik more of the girls program down at North. Haven't been part of it halfway through last year. It's been exciting and given me the appetite to pursue coaching at the cost of probably hanging up my own boots. But it's been great.
Absolutely. And AHMAD SULEIMI, a legend of the coaching ranks. He's been involved in so many different elements of coaching at North Geelong Warriors. For a time, you were coach of the Alco Park Cardinals, the youth team. You were involved with the senior setup. And now it's fitting that you're now also involved with the women. So a very warm welcome to you, AHMAD, and thanks for joining us. We haven't got his audio. He's probably muted himself.
Just all non-verbal communication from AHMAD tonight.
It looks like he's just muted himself, unfortunately. And it looks like we might have to be talking
I'll have
to
to
you.
try and I'll try and translate him.
Yeah,
like
he's done something. Yeah, he's done something on his audio. I think we're going to try and get him to log back in again, and just hopefully we'll just get AHMAD to log back in.
Yeah.
Ando, mate. 11 years, 12 years playing in the senior men's team?
You lose count after 10, don't you?
Yeah. You and you made the decision to retire, but then you got involved in the coaching side of things. How hard did they have to twist your arm to try and get you back involved as AHMAD joins us again? AHMAD, you there? No, I still can't hear him. I'm not sure. It's
all right.
definitely
You
something
carry on,
from
Michael, and we'll see if we can get AHMAD's audio working.
We'll at least have his pretty face up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose it was only like mid last year. I think I was one of the cup games. I was sitting out resting. The old body doesn't bounce back from the weekend game to the midweek game and 3 games in 7 days. So, yeah, I was standing in the stands with Ivan and having a chat about how the girls were going. And, he invited me down to come and give him a hand and just get involved a little bit and help him out. Started that last year, helping out. And, as I said, obviously decided to take a step back and hang up the boots a little bit. Still playing within the community here, which has been great at Leopold, which has been a different experience, but a good experience. It just gives me time to give back to the club that gave me so much.
Yeah. Is your brother still playing at FC Leopold, Nicholas?
Yeah, he is. He is.
He was the link that got you there.
Yeah, he was. And an ex-North player, Michael Boyer as well.
Uh-huh.
He's gone down there, and Damo Morel. So there's a bit of an ex-North Geelong contingent down there. They're past players that I've created good memories within my time at North Geelong, and just reconnecting with them down there. So
now, is it true that I think in the Alco Park Cardinals team, which I think they won 2-0 over the weekend against Armstrong United, is none other than your former coach from last year, Stuart Begg. Is that right?
That is correct. I think.
There could be a couple of grudge matches coming up. I tell you what, you might be ready to pay him back for dropping you a couple of times over the course of the last few years.
I think he said that he's got an injury this week, so it wouldn't surprise me. I reckon he's on the physio table at North Geelong more than some of the players there. So it was great having Beggsy as a coach last year, and he was accommodating for my needs as well. So he's a great bloke, and boys are lucky to have him down there.
Yeah, Steve. That game, the grudge match, is happening this Friday night at Alco Park. The Cardinals taking on the FC Leopold, 7 p.m. kickoff. Oh my goodness me! I tell you what, I'm gonna have to try and clear my diary and get down there Friday night. That's awesome. That's fantastic to hear. So, if you want some real, let's call it some action on the field, come down to Alco Park on Friday night.
Yeah,
Quite
definitely.
interesting on that, Tonj, is I think the last time I actually played against North Geelong was while I was at Green Gully. So again, wearing green.
The greens.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
I think I might have to wear a North Geelong shirt underneath.
Just for good luck.
Running around on Alco Park without a North shirt on.
Well, when you score a goal, don't celebrate. Don't celebrate. Or
no celebrating. Definitely no celebrating. Now, Ahmed, we'll get you to test your audio. How are you going? Can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you too.
Hey,
Got him. We've got him.
There we go.
Goal clap.
All right.
All right, let's jump into some questions for Ahmed now, because you've been sitting there patiently waiting and listening to Michael. How has the pre-season been with the girls set up there? Obviously, there's been some success in the Nike FC Cup, getting through to the fourth round and doing pretty well. And now, obviously, the girls have gone up from playing in State 3 to State 1, so a big leap there. And how's the preparations been for the home and away season and the cup competition? How did it all play out over the recent months?
Yeah, obviously we've been training for a long time now throughout this season. Throughout this year, and even last year after we got cancelled, we were still training on. So a long preparation and very committed girls to wanting to get on to this season and just get going. So and cup games. We had a forfeit, so that was a little bit disrupting, and then we had a game against Yarra Jets, which was a good little practice run for us, and respectfully to Yarra Jets as well. But it was just nice to be able to play. Going. So had a tough game against Burundara Eagles, and they're a quality side, playing on a 29-degree day on a synthetic pitch, which is probably a little bit outdated. Warm feet, and 3-2 at half time. We just ran out of gas. So, but a lot of things we learned from on that day. And good luck to Burundara. They're a quality side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as we can see, we've got some footage of yesterday's game. Now, I was out there for about half an hour or so watching this game and getting some footage. And Ando, I must say, the physicality of the game is amazing. It's the girls, and I think there's a little bit of footage here where the girls just go so hard, and there's a real no prisoners taken type of a philosophy. Yourself and Ahmed coming in from the men's side of things, and as we see the goal scored there by, I believe it's Maya. What's her name?
Maya Popperwell.
Yep. Is that a new recruit? Is it?
It is, yeah. So last season we played Altona Magic. Altona Magic were the only team that scored against us, and Maya Popperwell was the goal scorer. We recruited Maya, not just because of that goal, but because of her qualities and a few links. So she's fitted in very well to the squad. So happy to have her on board.
Great. And I was going to ask Ando, like with you guys coming in from the senior men's team, you as player, Ahmed as coach, is that something that you guys have instilled in the women, like that little bit of extra aggression, a little bit of that real toughness about it? Or is this just something that just comes naturally to this group of players?
I think it's just a attribute that has been in that squad for quite a while, actually. Like I was quite surprised even during my first couple of training sessions, just the intensity that they'd go in with. And I think it's a matter of now harnessing and changing that game smarts a little bit and game management to, you don't always need to go 100 miles an hour. You can conserve energy during periods of games, but their work rate is never in question during training or in games.
All right, I'll jump in with the question for Ahmed, and I will say also that as well as the physicality that Tonchi mentioned, I can see a lot of great technique on display in that video too, with a lot of plays with sole of the foot, change of direction, looking very sharp. Ahmed, how does it all work with the coaching? Who takes care of what on the training nights and the match days, given that you've got a good crew of staff involved there?
Oh, look, it's a shared role, I guess, in terms of putting on the training sessions. But we speak every day, the three of us. With Ivan Herzeg as well. So it's not just who takes control. It's about working together, and week to week and month to month, we've got our planned and our training sessions all lined up, and it's about obviously it's senior football. It's all our training sessions is focused on the weekend, so it's I won't say too much, but it's generally just planned for the weekend, and that's about it really.
Yeah, and Ivan Herzeg, he's good to work with. You enjoy working with him, do you, Michael?
Yeah, he's great. He's he's been helping out those girls for such a long time. It's been great to jump on board and help him out with the girls team, and just take that experience as well and learn from. This is kind of my first coaching gig, and having AHMAD and Ivan, who have coached for quite a while, taking pieces of what they do, what works, what doesn't. Find early in the piece, I tend to be the nice guy and kind of pretty humble. Where Ivan and isn't quite up to his level. He's happy to let
Never heard you scream
and rocket. So he's great. Our fearless leader, and leads the way. So it's great.
I was hoping there was a bit of good cop, bad cop. Over to you, Tom.
I'm being a Man U supporter, because me and Ando are, we're Liverpool supporters. So,
so there's a bit of that. There's a bit of banter there as well. Michael, you did say this is your first foray into coaching, but you've also obviously still retaining somewhat of a playing presence, if you like. But you're also involved as the head of football at Geelong Grammar, I believe. So you're getting really involved in a lot of the post-career football as well. Is that something that you kind of knew before you even hung up the boots, that you wanted to stay involved in football? Or is that something that, as soon as you made the decision, you started getting those withdrawal symptoms and just started looking for avenues to remain involved with the game?
I think I probably get it from my old man, and that football will always
good old
stay
David
in the veins in some shape or form. So definitely, I wanted to stay involved in the game. It's a game that's given me a lot, good experiences, great stories, great memories, the highs, the lows, and everything else that comes in between with football. Just wanted to continue that on in another capacity, and fortunately I was able to help Ivan last year, and as I said, really enjoyed it, and to a point probably started enjoying that more than my own training, and being able to share knowledge and pass on. So I think I've been really fortunate with the coaches that I've had during my time playing. I've had Aloisi for a period when I went to Melbourne Heart on trial. Ian Dobson, former Green Gully legend. He was kind of one of the initial, gave me my senior debut at Green Gully as a 16-year-old. Luciano, Cootsie, Begsy. I've been spoilt with great coaches during my time here at North and elsewhere. So, and everyone you have as a coach, you can kind of pick the good things that they do, and maybe the not so good things, and mold that into your own style. So it's this has definitely been a good platform, and great support with Ivan and AHMAD to further nut out how I want to coach and become a coach.
And AHMAD, you've been a coach for some time now, quite a few years. How far into your coaching career have you got so far in the terms of jobs and years and coach education, I suppose? Are you undertaking anything this year?
No, so I just revalidated my B license recently. Not looking forward. Sorry, not looking to.
Not looking forward.
Sorry, I'm not looking
to
my A license. It's not relevant to the to where I'm at, and I'm happy with the. Obviously, did that because I was coaching in the NPL setup. Been involved. I think just over 11 years this year. I think. Yeah. So, women's football is something that I've always wanted to get into, and the opportunity was there last year to help Ivan, and this year I really thought about it, and just wanted to pursue, another brand of coaching, and it's different. I love it. There's a lot of I guess differences in the approach and the planning, and just with females, I think it's I can't explain it. You just got to do it yourself. It's rewarding. Put it that way.
Yeah. Well, one thing that we do notice at North Geelong is the element of commitment from the club and club personnel to the women's side of things. And we saw, I think it was last year or the year before. For me, I think one of the big turning points at Alco Park was when I think it might have been a local league semi-final, Geelong versus Deakin. It could have been. And after the game, there was a crowd that came into the dressing rooms and sang the North theme song, very, very similar to what they do with the seniors. And it was a very good crowd. But when you look at the reserves team, you've got a former president, Vlado Jakic, who's the coach, a former club legend, Frank Simovic, who played in the halcyon days of the Victorian Premier League when North Geelong were at the top of its tree. They're now involved as coaches. And then when you've got players like ex-players like Ivi Chichak, Mio Trupkovic involved at a lower level, that sort of, to me, seems to mean that the club really is serious about giving the females a go. Ando, is that something that really kind of swayed you to get involved with the women's side of things, just noticing that the girls are really getting a fair income go down at Alco Park and you want to be a part of that kind of taking it maybe to a next level?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the women's game just across the globe is growing rapidly. Even saying about the head of soccer at Geelong Grammar, and we've got four teams at Geelong Grammar there from the school, which is crazy to think that we can fill out 4 teams there. But the girls at North, they've always been strong. Like I remember when they were State 2, State 1 in a few years ago, the women's football has kind of always been really strong at North, and it's just been great to jump on board. And I think being part of the senior setup for so long, I try and go, okay, well, what did I have as a player, and how can I pass on that or give that opportunity to the girls to gain. But yeah, I think it's just great to be a part of. Like you said, there's a lot of ex-legends at North with Mio and alike that are just trying to give back. And I think that's a big part of the culture at North is players giving back to a club that supported us during our playing time.
Very good. Good answer, Michael. And Ahmed, I guess one last question from me because we're running a little bit over time, and Tony G's sitting in the green room, eager to get on the air and get his 5 minutes of fame as well, of course. This weekend, you've got Craigieburn City coming up. What are your takeaways from the weekend game against La Trobe University? And just on the squad as well, it looks like you've retained a lot of those really good names that we saw prolific last year in the State League 3. And it looks like the girls are going to have a pretty strong season.
Yeah, look, we took away a lot from that game. Definitely, the score didn't reflect our performance. I think we were a little bit unlucky to concede the goals in the manner they were conceded. But yeah, look, we can score goals, and it's football, simple game. Score more than them, and we'll be looking forward to some training sessions and finishing. I guess we probably missed a lot of chances. Ando, you weren't there, but probably could have converted a little bit more. Going into next week, sorry, what was the second part of the question? I think I just lost track.
Yeah, we got Craigieburn City coming up this weekend, I think. So how are we looking for that one? Sorry, it was a long question.
Team meeting Tuesday night. We'll set up, and we'll set up our preview for next week. And then Thursday is all game training. So that's about it, I guess. And before I wrap up, just want to say thanks to Mist as well, our sponsor for tonight. For the
Mist,
boys.
yep.
Yeah, so
Now, speaking of Mist, glad you brought that up, Ahmed. Speaking of Mist, we've got a direct connection with the women's team there with Mist. And there was a photo taken over the weekend, and one of the three co-owners of Mist is none other than Mr. Stipe Kump, whose lovely wife Louisa is one of the players there. And there's a photo of Louisa taking a corner. And who is running the lines? None other than her husband, Stipe Kump. And that is great to see. And I think that
Imagine
photo
if you
there,
said that ball's out of the quadrant or something. Put it back in.
Oh, there could have been.
He was complaining he should have worn trackies on the day. So
Yeah.
instead of jeans, you know what I mean?
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't on the golf course. To be honest, I've spent a fair bit of summer with Kumpy on the golf course.
Kumpy on the golf course. He's very, very well known throughout the Geelong football circles. He himself has played at North Geelong. He played at Bell Park. I think he even played at Geelong Soccer Club for a while. He's very, very well known. But that photo really epitomises the support that is given to the ladies, that is given to the girls there at North Geelong Women. And they often have their spouses and boyfriends and friends and partners and what you're not coming along, family as well. And it's great to see. So, gents, we wish you all the best, and we wish all the girls down at North Geelong Warriors all the best. It is a big jump going from State 3 to State 1, but from all accounts, they certainly did not look out of place yesterday against one of the tougher teams expected, La Trobe Uni. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us. And Sambuca Saturdays, Powerade Sundays. So
That's a good system.
Is that right? Is that right? Thanks, Ahmed. That's wise words. It's the Geelong.
All right, well, welcome back to the final segment, and we are into overtime. But in the green room, we can announce the arrival to the Geelong Region Soccer Show of the North Geelong head of under 12 and under 13 pathway. It is a big Geelong Region Soccer Show. Welcome to Tony GRGUREVIC. How are you going tonight, Tony? And thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks very much for having me. Yeah, I know I'm going well tonight. G'day to you all. Thanks for having me on.
Evening, Tony. Great to have you on. And, mate, you've got, I guess, the esteemed role of being the head of the under 12, under 13 pathway program. When we say the pathway program, for those uninitiated, NPL juniors starts at under 14. So you've got that 2-year program of preparing the next batch of kids to come up through the ranks. It must be a pretty exciting sort of a role, because I guess it's the transition from the kids going from either community or mini-roos to a lot more of a serious scenario, I suppose, taking their soccer a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. That age, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, they're fantastic to have playing the game and watching play the game. It is a big step to the NPL under 14s, absolutely, from what people will be playing in, under 11s in community football. It's vastly different. And so there's a big learning curve and a lot of commitment required, I guess, from kids, from parents, time-wise, financially, and those sort of things. So it's, it really is, exciting to be part of it for sure.
And what are the areas we're looking to get the kids up to speed in that age group? Are we looking at their technical attributes, the skill acquisition? Is it their mental or physical attributes? Is it a combination of all of these things? How are we trying to get these kids up to speed for playing NPL level, coming out of that sort of, what are we talking, like late primary school age, I guess?
There's probably many things. It really comes down to the individual child, I think, as well. Probably not necessarily highly focused on the physical, because there's so many changes coming to those, those kids at 12, 13, 14, that, you can't necessarily, understand where they're at physically and how athletically, but certainly similar to what Football Australia kind of suggests in their curriculum, the skill acquisition, absolutely important to have these kids being able to have the skills to play future football, for sure. And I guess part of the North's program is certainly more of a focus on game awareness and positional understanding, absolutely, and not only skill kind of and technical development.
Mate, we've obviously the change of intensity, if you like, for kids coming to North Geelong. They're training 3 times a week. They're playing a lot more games than they're used to playing with the mini roos. It also and if correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have started training ever since December or something like that of last year at a pretty full-on intensity. I'm looking at the results of the under-12s and 13s played on the weekend. The under-12 Wallabies 14-0. Under-12 Kangas 4-1. Mind you, these are all victories. The under-13 Wallabies 16-0. And mind you, that's against Melbourne Knights, a club with a rich history. That tells, I guess, viewers just the sort of intensity, the step up and the quality that's happening at the moment. But I guess one of those key things is, as you said, game awareness is getting the kids to play more and more games. And I know with the Auscrow Soccer Show that I also co-run with a former president of North Geelong, Josip Zilic, we had the St Albans Dynamo having the I&D Cup, which North Geelong was represented at it. Now, you were involved in another tournament, the Maccas Cup, just weeks ago. Tell us about it, because this involved your actual team.
Yeah, the Maccas Cup, I guess it's formerly Casey Cup. It's affiliated with Melbourne City, and they run it out of the Casey Fields venue, and have a whole bunch of teams, probably 25 kids within 25 teams within the under-13s that we sort of played in the top level competition there. Really, actually, a 3-day event over school holidays. Really good for the kids to get to play lots of games. The pre-season is really hard to get a lot of match intensity for the kids, and when they're playing these tournaments, it really does lift the excitement levels, and the kids develop their game, absolutely. And we played in the kick competition. We were knocked over in the group stages by 2 teams and won 2 games, one against Melbourne City, which was really good football that I saw, and so we ended up playing off for the plate title, and we were runners up in that competition, knocked over by Oakley Cannons 1-0. But apart from those first couple of games there against Glenna Irewell, that 3-1 loss, 3-0, the boys made a good account of themselves. They developed, they learned, they matured within that tournament. So it was a really great tournament for them to go to. And we played light, so we had small bench, so we can really get lots of minutes into the kids, and they can do what they want to do and play the game.
So you had the I&D Cup. You played 3-4 games. You played 6-7 games or thereabouts at the Maccas Cup. Yeah. So just those 2 mini tournaments, you had something like 11 games before the seasons even started. Not to mention all the practice games. Tell us, how are the kids handling that step up from? Kids like kids, I'm sure they'd want to play every day. But how are they handling that sort of kind of desire to step up to the next level? Are they just jumping out of the skin every time they turn up to training, or do the parents sort of ring up and say, "No, Junior's having a bit of a sook today. Doesn't want to have a bar of training"? What's the feeling amongst the kids? Are they just so insatiable for their, to improve themselves as footballers at that age?
The kids are all different. I see there's some kids, you can just make them do suicide runs, sprints, and they'll turn up at soccer training. You tell them at soccer training, they'll turn up because they love it. Then there's a small group of those guys, and there's probably the other half that really like the game, enjoy the game, are interested, but they're still 11 or 12-year-olds. They want to come, they want to play. It's really important for us as coaches to nurture that interest in some of those kids as well. Continue to do that so they do come to the next level, to the next age group. They want to turn up next season. And when there's 3 days a week, it is a big commitment. Absolutely. When it's raining, it's cold. There's a sideways, rain. It's really, terrible conditions. You need a lot of commitment, and that commitment comes when they're really passionate about it. And I think nurturing that, or, finding out what excites the kids at training, that's when the learning happens, and when they get the most out of it, and then those performances come that come from that, like you talked about, those sort of one-sided victories, although they're not necessarily always the marker of good development. It sort of shows we're probably on the right track with those boys at this stage, really early on, of course.
And Tony, following on from that as well, what are we talking about the amount of contact hours that these kids are doing in training and games and stuff at the club each week? Is it are they reaching that sort of optimal amount that's recommended for the junior development at this age? And are some of them going and doing extras, playing indoor, playing futsal, playing a bit of street football after school as well, stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I guess we've got 4.5 hours of training a week. So the 3 sessions plus a game, which has probably started this week, really, other than the odd practice match and a tournament, which really great. I think, you wouldn't want to necessarily do a lot more structured training, but it really is up to the coaches to see, to understand if the kids are doing, school athletics, if they're doing Lightning Premiership, if they're doing those kind of events, and knowing, where the kids are at with school and with and other sports, if they're doing those sort of things. It's an absolute hard one. I think it's really knowing your players and your charges and where they're at, and working out when you can push them and when you have to, kind of ease back a little bit with the intensity of the training session, and make sure it's it's exciting, but you're not really stressing their bodies out.
Yeah. Now, in recent years, either behind the scenes or openly coaching teams, one of the key figures behind the NPL pathway and the NPL juniors and North Geelong has indeed been Joe Didlitzer and Josip Skoko, former internationals. And the under-14 team, the North Geelong under-14 team, who obviously last year graduated from this pathway program, they, after 11 games of grading in the Western Zone, won 11 games. And the majority of that under-11, under-14 squad is pictured there along with Joe Didlitzer. Now, this team was representing the Western Zone at the recent TIDC trials over the school holidays, and they captured first place, basically the best in Victoria. So I guess that is a pretty good indicator of the success of the program at Alco Park with the juniors, Tony. But it doesn't stop there. I'm told 3 out of the 4 coaches, so 2 Wallabies teams and 2 Kangas teams in the 12s and 13s, are currently doing C license coaching courses. The 4th one has already done it. So a lot of emphasis is also put on the coaches bettering themselves, improving themselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The club putting their money where their mouth is as far as offering to pay for C licensed coaches for the 12s and 13s coaches. And so I think all the 12, 13 coaches by the end of the season will be sort of licensed in that way, or have previously done that. So absolutely, the club led by Joey and Josip really, thoroughly from this junior level have been able to improve that standard and those players, and you can see by that representation at TIDC that a majority or a really strong contingent of North players, and they're really doing well in that under 14s age group as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess just one final one from me because we're running out of time. And thank you for your time tonight, Tony. You've been very generous and waiting in the green room for us before we got you on air. But how are you actually enjoying the role yourself? We'll get down to that. How are you enjoying it this season? And how does the framework and the people involved out at Alco Park help, make that easier or make your job more enjoyable?
Oh, well, I've been lucky because I've been able to stand on the sidelines and see a lot of great coaching over the years, from under 7s, 9s, and certainly at under 13s last year, assisting Joey as well there, learning what it takes to to put on a good session, get the intensity going, and also make sure the kids are enjoying that level of of the challenges that you put setting them. Absolutely, learnt a lot and thoroughly enjoying it. Thoroughly enjoying soccer coaching. I've involved in sports all my life, but really love the technical aspect of football, and love futsal as well. But when you see the kids running around, they're enjoying it. And I saw it this week when I was out there on the pitch, the sideline for Mini Roos. A lot of the kids, smiling faces, kicking goals, celebrating. In some places, playing some really good football. It's really great to watch. It's really, brilliant to watch actually. I'm so glad we can maybe next couple of years, or put the disruption of COVID behind us with football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Been kind of stopped in its tracks over the last couple of years. We can get some momentum again with the kids who want to be out there and enjoying themselves on a Sunday.
Absolutely, and at whatever level the kids are playing, whether it's at a really high level, at just a social level, or male female players in general, it's just great to see community football back in action in 2022. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate getting an insight into the very successful player pathway program currently at North Geelong Warriors, and wish you and everyone down there at Alco Park all the very best for season 2022.
Thanks very much, Tonchi. Thanks, Steve.
Good on you.
Thanks, Tony. All the best, mate.
And that's Tony GRGUREVIC from the North Geelong Warriors. Mate, we really have gone into extra time. We're really burning the midnight oil. Mate, thank you for being a part of tonight's show. And congratulations to you, because yesterday you took part in the Geelong Half Marathon. So kudos to you.
Almost my
not too
half
many
marathon.
people can do it, but you did very well.
Almost got my half marathon PB beaten from 2017. Not quite, but I'll get it next time, hopefully.
Good on you, mate. Really appreciate it. Now, next week's show is going to be a great show. Looking forward to that. We're hoping to get it's Surfside Waves. Surfside Waves are the episode sponsors, and they are also indeed the featured club in focus. And I'm looking forward to finding out more about Surfside Waves. They've got their women's program up and running. They have got a ton of juniors at Shell Road Reserve. The senior men's aren't doing all the best, but they did get their first win this weekend. And Steve, we might even find out the story behind the goalkeeper, Tyler Ditloff, scoring that goal. Was it an outfield play? Was it a freaky bounce?
Yeah.
We'll find out next week. Folks, thank you very much for joining us and being a part of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It was episode 79. We look forward to having your company next week. And thank you once again for joining us. Good night.
Good night.